Hello, today we are going to do a side-by-side comparison review of the top 5 art subscription boxes. That's Scrawlrbox, Artsnacks, Upcrate, Sketchbox, and Paletteful Packs. I purchased all these subscriptions myself and I'm not paid or sponsored by any of them, so I want you to know that right away. All opinions and thoughts are based on my own experiences with these subscription boxes and art supplies in general. It does not mean you will like or dislike a box just because I do. I'm trying to provide enough information so based on your art style, choice of medium, and interests, you can bring those into the equation as well. I will do my best to be straightforward and unbiased as possible. I will tell you my favorites and where some things have failed me, and also what I chose to go with. I will still tell you what I think, but I'll also try to put it in perspective for you. Granted, we all have hidden biases, but I will try to point out the ones I know I have as we go. So my goal is to get the main facts across to you as quickly as possible, because sometimes a personal experience will help you make a better decision with a box, such as when to subscribe best to avoid some problems. That said, it is going to be a longer video, so skip around as you need to and skip what isn't very helpful to you. But no, I do some comparisons throughout the video as to why you may want another box instead during the different slides, and other things to consider that you may miss out on. But I put all the facts on the slides. Of course, the pros and cons on the slides are just my opinion. I also left off any problems I encountered from the slide, but will address it in a voiceover during the slide. You can also use the slides for a quick comparison for yourself if you just want to compare maybe 1 or 2 boxes you are considering. And if, like me, you have been wondering if you could just DIY these boxes for a cheaper price, you can also just go to those slides and double check for yourself. But again, you may miss a point I make later on. I will be having one more side-by-side comparison next month. All the boxes will be at the lower price point. I am not sure if it will be a 4-box or a 5-box video, but just know that I do refer back and forth between the different boxes at times and provide other useful information as we go that are things you may not have considered. This is your money and investment you are thinking about, so I just felt it was important to be thorough rather than trying to make a really quick video. I personally want to know why someone made their decisions. It just kind of gives me an idea whether I think similarly or not, and whether I would agree with their decisions. I hope that the information provided here will be able to help you decide what the best box is for you, or if you're better off buying your own supplies or investing that money elsewhere. This video should cover that. Today I will cover the cost for each box, the stated value of the box, and the DIY value of the box by shopping online for the very same or very similar supplies. Prices are current as of January 2020, and this is only for these boxes this month. Know that the price in each box can vary month to month, and some months are definitely a better value than others. So next month's prices and review will look the same, but will those boxes still have a similar value, a similar DIY? Hit the notification button if you want to see that one before you make your decision. So again, the pros and cons are listed on the slide, and I also put on there if a box has 2 levels, I put either 1 or 2 boxes on there so you could just see the difference of items supplied each month. We'll also look at the top 5 questions to ask yourself when considering a subscription box. But I also have 2 more thoughts for you to consider that are equally important that will be talked about later in the video. At the end, I will tell you what box or boxes I went with, and the most important thing after taking those first 5 questions into consideration. And remember, my choice in a box is based on my interests and art style, Yours may be different, so don't think it's most useful to jump to the end and go with what I choose. You really want to take your art style in consideration to get the best box. If I have left something out or wasn't clear, please leave a comment below and I will try to cover it in the next month video. So if you find yourself with more questions, I will try to find the answers to those. Art subscriptions have been around a while, and with their success, more are coming on the market. They are a monthly subscription service that delivers art supplies to your door for an art experience or for a trial of supplies. They are fun, they offer a creative challenge, and they have social communities around each box. Most are small businesses, and that's something I feel good about supporting. You might ask yourself, well, who are these subscription boxes good for? Like who should subscribe for them, who shouldn't? They are great for anyone who wants to be creative, regardless of your age, your level of experience, or your lack of art experience. They are a tool to help you get more creative on a regular basis if you tend to put it on the back burner, or you're looking for just something to help you break out of a creative rut or just for fun. These boxes can be used as a friend activity box, a family activity, or a date night activity box. They come to your door once a month. They cost about $25 to $40 with or without shipping. The right subscription box can offer fun that continues long after the first use. So they are mystery boxes, which means each month you will not know what's inside until it arrives at your door, or if you can't resist and you peek on social media. Personally, I like the little Christmas morning feeling when I see it in my mailbox. And then once I've done the art challenge, I love to go out and see what others are doing with the same supplies in the different art communities. I am really amazed at the creativity and beauty that other artists all over the world are doing. It's really great to see. And I subscribe specifically because it's a good self-care option for me. Subscribing to one of these boxes helps me put the needs of creating art and supports my dreams and goals for this year of not pushing my art to the back burner. So life is really short. It's too short not to enjoy the things you love. Second, I also knew I wanted to showcase at least one box on my channel, and I wanted to figure out which one was the best small business to support and which one is the best box that works for me. And I think I also took in consideration that if you're like me, I love watching some unboxings of these and watching the art people make. So I also knew that hopefully someone will watch my channel and I won't end up being here talking to myself. So those are my reasons initially for signing up. This channel will be about taking our creativity and our self-care a little more seriously this year and hopefully moving forward. I will offer challenges on this channel. I will also be doing some giveaways this year. I will do unboxings of either new supplies I'm trying or of a subscription box each month. I will also do reviews of products that I use, that I love, or that I really found frustrating. I will also be providing relaxing art videos. These you can follow along, do the art, or do your own art while you're listening. And eventually, I hope I will have live coffee hours that you can join me and we can talk and make some art together. This is about starting a community here and sharing inspiration, ideas, and art, and that it can be a relaxing getaway from your busy day or week. So I have a lot of fun things planned this year. We'll get to regular art videos soon. I was a little distracted with all the subscription boxes coming in. It was a lot of fun, but I'm ready to get back to my own art and my own art style. So please remember, if you're an artist or an art supply lover, these art subscription boxes can be really tempting, and it can be tempting to jump into a longer subscription box, but for some it really is an unneeded expense, and I will get into that later. One way to avoid that temptation is it's really sobering to see how much money you could actually be spending on items you won't use or don't like. And I hope to provide you enough information so you don't subscribe to the wrong box for you. So let's get started with this review of the top 5 art subscriptions. As we go, I need you to keep these 5 questions in mind to ask yourself before subscribing to an art subscription box. 1. Are the supplies included artist / professional grade versus craft / student grade? So the difference between the two is the amount of pigment, binders, and fillers in things like watercolors, acrylics. Artist grade tend to have more pigment, less binders and fillers. Student grade tends to have more binders and fillers, yet more student grades are upgrading their supplies, providing light fastness. So if you put your artwork in the sun, is it going to fade? And some of the student grade companies or student grade levels are upping their quality and providing information for artists to decide if their product is something we can use. And the other place it matters is acid-free paper versus acidic paper. Your acid paper, your paper may break down, change colors over the years. Cheaper paper, student grade, may tear or pill when applying too many supplies. So if you've had that happen on your paper where the paper surface gets rough that was once smooth, that's because you're using a paper or applied too much product for what that paper can handle. So if you make a beautiful sketch and your paper wears through in a spot, are you okay with that? These are subscriptions that might not matter so much, but for your supplies, when you're making art in a sketchbook, it probably doesn't matter whether you're using student grade or artist grade because the book is going to be closed, it's not going to get a lot of sun, and a sketchbook usually is for trial and error and testing colors and such. So just remember though that your time and effort is worth something. And if you're making art and if you're going to scan it into a digital copy to make prints or something, then quality doesn't matter so much unless you want that intensity with more pigment in your supplies. But if you hang that on a wall and it fades over time for you or a client, that's something you really want to consider. If these boxes are just for fun, then just know that then it doesn't matter. And if you're just testing supplies, it doesn't matter because then you can test different papers. But if it's your favorite work ever and it's on lower quality paper, just know it may degrade over time and make sure to scan those into the computer. And on that note too, I also want to make sure to say that all these boxes seem to supply art supplies at both levels, some more than others. So just knowing whether you want artist grade or student grade or brands may make a difference on which box you subscribe and sometimes what level box you subscribe to. Sometimes you get more artist grade at the higher price level than you would in the lower, but some boxes offer some of both at both levels, and I think that's great. So you can personally try out the different qualities and decide for yourself which is your favorite, because sometimes you can't tell the difference and sometimes it just doesn't matter. So the next thing I want you to consider is, do you care if it's a set of supplies or just a sample of supplies? Some boxes only offer 1 or 2 random colors that somebody, the next person will get a different color. Other boxes are really good at providing a set of markers or a set of pencils or a set of paints. Why this matters is you just want to make sure that if you're buying this for an art box every month, that you would be able to make art with the random supplies included in a random box. Sometimes those supplies will not work together. And even in the bigger or the other boxes, sometimes the supplies weren't curated as carefully as other boxes, even within their own subscription, and you'll feel like it's really difficult to make art. Like this month I got a full set in the Scrawlrbox. However, for me personally, they didn't blend well and thus made it a little bit more difficult to make art with. But other people have been doing fantastic jobs online, so that's what I mean is, and the same with this Artsnacks box this month. This month was a little bit better than last month. Last month I had silver and orange and it was really hard, and the supplies didn't mix well, and so that's kind of what I'm saying. Upcrate this month, we have the art line markers, we have the sticks and the Decorite, and in order to have a full set of primaries to mix and blend and see how they all work together, there are two different brands that won't work. They work really great on paper together, but they don't really work well on extra surfaces like ceramic and stuff. The art sticks, I don't think, are able to do that. So that's what I mean by that is, I guess just to move forward, the Sketchbox, same thing. They provided us 4 colors, but they all blend well together. They're kind of, you know, you can make your greens and explore a limited palette. And so to me, that's considered a set. It may not be a complete set of full primaries, but to add on to this box, all you would have to do is go buy a Cotman red and you could make all the colors of the rainbow. So that's what I mean. If you have only one marker and one paint, you would have to go buy 2 colors to test out the range of colors and how well they blend and things, where, you know, it's nice if you get even a partial set and you're able to just go out and add on one more color for $4 and you can be painting for several months. So think about that. The next question is this for you or someone else? And do you only do art in one medium, like acrylics or watercolors? Or are you purchasing this to explore and break up, or just to break out of your comfort zone and just to kind of boost your creativity? Are you wanting to try supplies to find your favorites? Or what medium do you want to work in if you haven't done much art? These boxes are really good for beginners because it explores several mediums and gives you an opportunity to try out different mediums and figure out which one you like the best. But if you like to work in one brand or one medium, then these boxes may not be for you. And then I suggest in that case that you just watch all the sites and purchase a box that is in the brand or medium you like. So will you use these supplies based on your art style? Or will you have to throw away or donate many of the items? If you look through several months of the previous boxes, decide on how many in each box would be useful. So the Artsnacks box here has 4 items. How many of those do you see yourself using over the next 4 months? Are they going to just get thrown in a drawer and not used at all? What I did to figure this out is I looked at how many supplies in each box I was going to use or definitely didn't like. You can do it from either angle. This is the most important question that I didn't know to ask myself, because they're so tempting. You see people creating art with these and they're so tempting. But what I did not consider is the fact that in some boxes, there's not many supplies I'd ever use again. Spending $24 to $40 on something that I will not use the supplies again is not a good deal. I would be better off investing in a box that was more expensive or less expensive, but as long as it had more supplies over the year that I would actually use. I recommend that you go to their websites, social media sites, and look at least 3 months of the previous boxes, but it's better to look at a full year and just kind of tally up, yes, I'd use this, no, I wouldn't. I break the sets up because sometimes, like, let's say you just like silver, you don't like gold. Well, this came in a set, but there's at least one supply you're not going to use. So it's just a little bit easier to break those sets down. Tally up the number of items those boxes have. Like, so if you do 3 months, add up all the supplies in those boxes and then count up either how many you don't want to use or you want to use. For some people, if you're not familiar with art supplies, it would be a little difficult to know if you're going to like something or not, but just give it a shot, because at least then you might be surprised and realize that you don't want to work in pencils, or you don't want to work in markers. So then it may be better to invest elsewhere or in a box that provides, say, watercolors or oil colors more often if that's the medium of your choice. So if you get one of these boxes and you don't like the supplies in it, I'm going to ask you not to throw them away. Or if you purchase supplies from your local art store and you don't like them, please don't throw them away. Set up a giveaway box by your front door or in your basement. And because there's so many places in need of gently used art supplies, these can include churches, schools, shelters, after-school programs, libraries, even some small museums and senior centers will take your gently used art supplies. But please call your local places before just dropping them off to be sure they're interested in taking them. And in the future, think about gifting art supplies to those same places as a way to give back in the future. So keep in mind that a higher cost box that has more supplies you use is a better deal than a cheaper box that only has 1 or 2. That said, if you only have $25 to spend, make sure you use this information to find the best box for you with the most supplies you would use again. Finally, price. Let's face it, art supplies are a luxury or non-necessity for some people. If you fall into that category, you really want to kind of try to follow, or at least ask yourself those 5. Think about what I say later on as well. Are you a person who, if it came to your door, you would just consider it part of the budget? Or can you save towards supplies you really want? Or do you try to save and then order pizza instead, or spend that money for somebody else in the family and never really get around to supporting your desire to create or be creative on a regular basis? If you can't save, it may be better to budget it in at the beginning of the year and know that at least that way you'll be encouraged to get creative once a month. For others, the price may not matter, or even how many subscription boxes, but the rest of us are probably somewhere in between. Again, I want you to think of it this way. If you sign up for a 3-month subscription of a certain box and 2 of them are bad, know that at the lower price, at either price, you've thrown away $50 to $70 depending on the level of art box you're at. And can you be okay with that? Every box is going to have 1 or 2 boxes that you just don't like based on your art style, your likes and dislikes. So be prepared for that. Sometimes I'm surprised to see people are like, this was a terrible box. I would never, I don't want this subscription anymore. If you decide on one box and you try one box, it could just be the month that it wasn't your supply. So just keep that in mind, that you are going to still get boxes you don't like with this. The metallics I received in 2 months, 2 of the subscription boxes this month, and I'm not a metallics fan. I'm a Metallica fan, but not a metallics fan. So these boxes were not my favorite, and they had less supplies I would use this month than usual. I like the Scrawlrbox. This is only my first upgrade, so I can't speak to that. No, you're going to get a box that you may not use, or you may use it, but it's just supplies. And that's what I'm saying. Remember, don't throw them, donate them. That's a way to kind of pull yourself back from the cliff when you think about subscribing for a year. I would hate to see you subscribe to one of these and then realize, oh, I don't use any of these supplies. And so far that would qualify for one of the boxes for me personally. So I'm glad I didn't jump into it. So now let's get into it. I'll go over the first 1 or 2 boxes with a little bit more in-depth information, just pointing out things on each of the slides so you understand what the information is. But the later ones, I'll just give you the information on each box that I feel that would help you make a decision on that box. Or rather than that box, you may want to consider another one. So I'm going to try to keep each one to 5 minutes, but it's going to take as long as it takes to explain. So again, fast forward or pause, come back to this video later, whatever you have to do for the information you want to get out of it. I've tried 4 times to record this video and every time it ends up being really long. Keep in mind, again, those questions and your wants and needs and how many supplies you also already own, because if you own a lot of supplies, these may not be your best bet. But I will maybe mention later as we go why one of these boxes might be good for you even. So you can choose the best box for you or decide that subscribing is maybe the worst idea. So all these boxes usually offer discounts the longer you subscribe to them. And please check before you hit subscribe and check their refund policy. Some offer no refunds. Some, as long as you cancel before the order ships, you can still get a refund or cancel your order. Some, as soon as you hit subscribe, you're charged immediately for whatever next box comes out. And on one of these boxes, I had a code and I forgot to put it in and I hit pay. So if you have any discount codes, make sure they're in, double check that before you hit subscribe, because you can't go back and use that code after you've subscribed for your first subscription box. And most of the time when you subscribe for a longer box, so if you're going to a 3-month, 6-month, 12-month subscription, most of those are non-refundable, or if they're refundable, they're prorated. So when you hit send, they charge you for that whole year, and you can cancel some of them. I don't think all of them, but some of them you can cancel and get a prorated refund. Some it will cancel the next renewal. So if you've signed up for a year, it won't cancel until a year from now. So just think of that. And let me know in the comments if you subscribe to any art subscription box or you want to. If you did, which one, did you love it or hate it? Let me know in the comments, because that will help other people make decisions too. As you can see, the stated price or value is the manufacturer prices stated on each of the menus that come in the boxes. Not all boxes price out the manufacturer price, but they do list which each item is, and I tried to do that on each of the slides for each subscription box. In most cases, it's within $1 or $2 of the web price, which is if you would just went online and try to look up these prices, and you can see that for yourself. That said, even web prices fluctuate, so these prices are only accurate as the day I found them in January of 2020, but really shouldn't be that far off. Over the last year, I haven't really seen art supplies fluctuate that much. And again, remember I said that some boxes have discount codes. On your first box, all have sales as much as 30 to 40% off on previous boxes at different times during the year and month, sometimes every few weeks. So if you sign up for their newsletters and it comes to your inbox, you'll be able to catch those. Some companies like Artsnacks has a code down in their footer of one of their pages. I believe you have to go to the little banner at the top where it says Artsnacks Plus, click on that, scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page, and there's a black footer, and that will have a 10% off coupon plus the previous boxes at the bottom. And some will offer a code for a larger percent off your first subscription. I think one of my boxes I was able to, during the holidays, get 30% off my first subscription box. So if it takes you a while and you aren't sure, maybe wait till the holidays again. That's a year away, but maybe wait till then and try to grab one of those percents off your first subscription. Also, sponsored YouTubers may have a code in the descriptions of their videos. Also note Michael's, Joann's, Dick Blick, Hobby Lobby always have coupons, 40, 50, 60% off coupons on single items in their store almost weekly. and you can quickly build up your art supplies at a discounted price. By downloading their apps and signing up for their mailings, you can get those coupons, and some of the online coupons can be used every day. You know, if you live near a store and you bypass Michael's once a day, think about using that coupon and just picking up one Copic or one paint, one book of paper. If you want a detailed look at the supplies, please see the unboxing videos, though just know a few of these aren't up yet, but they will be within the next week or two. I'll give you the pictures for these and then the slides with the financial facts. So as I said, if you want the detailed look at the supplies, please see the unboxings, and that will give you a close-up look and prices on the screen, and you can see what art I've made with those.
So here's our first slide. As you can see, there's one level to this box, and there's a subscription. You can sign up for 1, 3, 6, or 12 months. The longer the subscription, the cheaper the box. Then after that, I put the subscription cost at $26.20 US versus my DIY web price of $27.47. But just note, you're still going to have to add on tax and shipping. And so I just roughly put add $6 for that. On the subscription cost, if you look down the list of items, then there's a total stated value. This is a retail value that was stated on the menu that was included in the box. And for this box, it was $28.26. So you can compare their stated value at $28.26 to the total value $27.47 if you did it yourself. So the subscription cost is $26.20. One thing I want to note is if one of these companies has a higher retail value item in their box, it's going to inflate the cost of the box. If they include one or two of those, or two or more, again, it's going to inflate the cost of the box. So that is why looking at that manufacturer price and looking at the going web price is important. So in this case, this box is a better deal as a subscription than it is to do it yourself or if you had to pay retail value. Also note on the slide, I list the last 3 or 4 boxes. The October box was a Copic marker, November Daily Rowney gouache, January metallic set, and no other level of boxes. The last thing on the slide I cover is pros and cons. Now this is the only part that isn't data. So these are my opinions and what I found to be pros and cons of each box. Your pros and cons may be different. On the boxes that have levels, I will also be giving an example of what was in this month's box versus the smaller box or the larger box, depending on the subscription, so that you can compare and contrast. Is it a better deal to get the larger box or the smaller box? So with Scrawlrbox, I have purchased 7 boxes. 4 of their previous boxes and 3 were in a subscription. Out of those boxes, I used 40 out of 49 items. So a good portion of those items I would use again. And the pros and cons are listed on the slide. So that's just to give you an idea of what I would use out of these boxes. And as I said, that's 40 out of 49 items. So to me, that box rates pretty high. In this month's box, there was also supposed to be a copper ruler by Derwent included. Mine either fell out in shipping or it was forgotten inside. But when I contacted Scrawlrbox, they quickly sent out another one, and I received it in the mail today, and I actually received the ruler plus a few extra surprises. So customer service with Scrawlrbox is awesome. My favorite thing with Scrawlrbox is the diversity of boxes. If you just look at the past 3 boxes, we've gotten several different mediums, and it's been a lot of fun. My favorite supply that I received was a trial piece of the Canson the Wall marker paper. It's for use with alcohol markers, and it is now one of my favorite papers. All right, so we finish up with Scrawlrbox. Now on to Artsnacks. So here's the same information set up kind of the same way. This box has 2 levels. Their subscription is a 1-month, 6-month, or 12-month subscription. This box does not offer a 3-month subscription. So the subscription cost is $24 versus the DIY, which is $19.15. But also remember, with that, you need to add on shipping and taxes, and the total I found on Dick Blick was $25.15 to have this sent to my home for these items if I DIY'd through Dick Blick. So just note that that $25.15 is really close to the stated value of this box at $25.33. So the subscription cost at $24 is actually cheaper than the box stated value, as well as the DIY if you have to pay shipping and tax on that. So the box itself, you don't have to pay tax, and you're getting it shipped right to your house for $24. The last boxes for Artsnacks, October was a Copic ink box, November was acrylics, December Wink of Luna and a Pro Marker, January acrylic and a crayon. The premium Artsnacks box, plus the Artsnacks has the Artsnacks Plus box, which is their premium box at $39 plus added shipping. And it included everything above, plus the Bristol Strathmore paper, a Tombow Click Eraser Mono, the Kuretake brush, and those are DIY prices because I did not have the menu to get the stated price on those items. And again, at the bottom, I have the pros and cons. So for Artsnacks, I purchased 7 boxes. Most of them, they're previous boxes. I got a lot of them over the holidays. So out of those boxes, I used 19 items out of 28. So that's just a little bit more than half, but there was at least more than half of the supplies I would use again. The last 2 months were not quite supplies I'd use again, so that kind of brought down the total for the Artsnacks box. But basically, I have a love-dislike relationship with Artsnacks boxes. I've had my best boxes come from Artsnacks and found some really great materials that have now become my favorites, but I've also received some of the worst boxes from Artsnacks. So check in at the end and I will explain that a little bit more. So now let's get on to Upcrate, the new art box on the block. So now on to the Upcrate. So the subscription cost is $24.70 versus the DIY, which I was not able to do per marker. I only could find the metallics and a full set of markers on eBay for $32.99. So it was a 20-pack on eBay for $32.99. So if you like the Decorate markers, that's one place you can find them in the US is on eBay. You would also have to buy a whole pack of the sticks in order to get those markers, and I found those on Amazon for $14.42. So in order to DIY this box, you would actually have to buy those sets, and so you're looking at a price of $59.97, and that does not include shipping or tax. because you can't buy those markers separately, the rough estimate is about $3 per marker, so a value of $33. This box also did not state any manufacturer price, so you're just looking at the $24.70 price. I listed out the last boxes. You can read through those and the pros and cons. My only note on this box is if you live in the United States and you're going to order this box and try it out, if you're going to subscribe, that's great. If you're just going to try a month to month, order early in the month between the 3rd and the 10th so you get that month's box shipped to you rather than waiting till the end of the month. After the 15th is their cutoff date. I ordered on November 20th. I received my box on December 24th. But I was billed for my second box on December 20th. So because your payment date is whenever you sign up. So if you signed up on the 3rd, you would be billed on the 3rd, and that would have been perfect for my situation. But because I signed up late in the month, I did not get the November box. I was sent the December box, but I was also billed for January box December 20th before I received my December box. So that was a little bit frustrating. I did contact him and he said if I really disliked my December box, I could ask for a refund for the January. And so no, he was willing to fix it. So if that does happen to you, contact him. But do your best to just prevent it from happening in the first place because it saves you and the owner time to fix that. So that's my only other comment of a situation I had with Upcrate that you just want to try to avoid. So with Upcrate, I only would use 4 out of 16 supplies. So that's only a quarter of the box. However, I want you to remember I'm not a marker person, but if markers are your thing, or you are just wanting supplies, then this is a really great box because they've been really full. But for me, I want a box that's been a little bit more thought out. And although I want the most art supplies for my money, I want it to be supplies that I'm going to use. So only 4 out of 16 items I would use again in this box. And because this box is new, I also went and looked at their previous boxes, which I have on that slide. And again, most of the items are not something I'm going to use. So when it's a box like this, you may have to just look at previous boxes to kind of help you make a decision as to how useful the supplies would be for you.
So another thing you may want to think about is one, if minimalism and the environment are important to you, when you get these boxes, there's a lot of waste, let alone the supplies that you may be wasting. But I did want to take a moment to share with you the different box sizes. So this is the Artsnacks size, and that's about a 2-inch box by about 9 inches. So this box will fit bottles of ink and bottles of paint, some larger things, but you're not going to be fitting any sketchbooks or anything else in that. No, not really any paper unless it's about bookmark size paper. So that's the Artsnacks box. And remember, there's all the packaging and everything inside that you're also disposing of. There's the Sketchbox, and I believe it's the same size for both levels, but I'm not sure on that, so don't quote me on that. And this box is about 4 inches by 4 inches by maybe 10 or 11. So in here also, you're not going to get large sketchbooks. So if that's important to you, know that. But you can get inks, paints, a lot of supplies in that larger square. So that's Sketchbox. So probably nothing bigger than a 5x7 will fit, of paper will fit in this box. Nothing bigger than a bookmark roughly will fit in this box. The other two out of Europe, the Scrawlrbox is really narrow. Upcrate is about double the thickness. 5x7, 6x9 box. And so that's another thing to consider. This box, you won't be receiving probably really huge sketchbooks, no inks, no large bottles of paint. So it's going to be flatter objects. Same probably with Upcrate, though they have a little bit more room to work with. And last is Paletteful Packs. They're probably like a 9x12 box. I know 1 month they fit a lot of sketchbooks inside that, and they can fit canvases, bottles of paint, and inks. So it's a really good sized box. That said, both of the bigger boxes, Paletteful Packs and Sketchbox, can feel a little empty when you open them, but so can some of the other ones. But I think that's one thing Upcrate kind of has going for it right now, is that the boxes seem a lot more full. Remember, it doesn't really matter if it's full or empty, but psychologically for us, I call it the dessert plate syndrome, or the dessert plate phenomenon, is you put a dessert on a small plate, it's going to feel more satisfying than on a large plate. You're going to feel like you get less. Same thing if you have a bigger box that's fit for different size supplies over several months. On a month you get it, like this month, it doesn't feel like you really received that much stuff. Our minds want to equate fullness with more, weight with more. So when we pick up a box and it's really light and there's only a couple things in it, we don't value it as much as we would if it was overflowing with supplies and heavy. So I call that the dessert phenomenon. Again, from a minimalist standpoint, you're collecting a lot of supplies that you may or may not use, plus disposing of all this waste from the boxes, the packaging, and any packaging from supplies and the supplies you don't like. So the carbon footprint of these may not be the best. We have the shipping costs and the waste from them, where if you went to pick up the things from the store, you brought your own bag, there'd be a lot less waste, or if you bought in larger sizes. So a pro though is these have opened me up to supplies I didn't know existed. Before, I would go in a store and make a beeline for the paper, the paint I wanted, and got out of there. I didn't do a lot of window shopping. Since subscribing to these boxes, I realized that when I go in there for my marker, it's like, oh, I didn't even know they carried this other marker. So now I'm aware of all the supplies in the store. I can make better decisions on my own without needing a box to inspire me. Because remember, you are buying supplies that someone else thought was a good idea, or they're just filler items. That said, I have found better sketching pencils, better erasers, because they were supplied in these boxes, and over time you get to try many different brands. And it is a great way to figure out what you like for 3 months, 6 months, a year, so you can start just buying the supplies you want. But again, I want to mention that most important question is, will you use these supplies in the box? But also, along with that, which box do you think you're going to have the most fun with? I have a box that I had a lot of fun with, which was the Paletteful Packs, but I didn't use as many of the supplies in that box. A box that I was most frustrated with, Artsnacks, I had a worse experience painting with those supplies or using those supplies to make art, yet overall, except for the last 2 months, those are supplies I would use more often. So overall, Artsnacks has more supplies I will use. However, the experience is frustrating. And so those two things may play into whether I subscribe longer or not. I don't want a frustrating experience. So if I move it out of the category of an art box or an art experience box and move it into a sample box of, I get to try a supply that I may have not tried before, it's a better value to me than if I try it. For me, it just doesn't fit into that category of an art experience, but that's just me. Other people may find the challenge of creating with supplies that don't work together or that are random colors fun. Personally, I'm subscribing to experience one art medium well every month. So for me, it matters that I get colors and supplies that work well together. And some boxes do that better than others. And I hope I've pointed that out thoroughly here where those discrepancies are. And again, if you have tried many art supplies or have many art supplies on hand, these really may not be the way for you to go unless you are doing it for the inspiration, fun, and challenge and just to stay creative. Then, some of these factors may not even matter to you. I think if you're new to subscription boxes, make your decision based on which box seems to meet your needs the most. And then try one subscription box or a past box on sale, or curate a sample of one of their boxes and try it out and then reassess how you feel about it. Then either subscribe to 1 month, and if you've decided it is the box for you, then go to a 3-month subscription, reassess again, and decide if you want to jump into those longer subscriptions where you can save more money per box and making it an even better deal. As you can see on the slides, all of these boxes are a fairly good deal. You're at least paying less for the supplies than you would if you DIY, with most of them with shipping. If you include shipping, you definitely are getting a better deal. And so think about those prices and now taking another $2 to $4 off each month. That's where those subscriptions come in handy. But the companies, want you to subscribe for longer, but will you need a art subscription for a year or 2 years or 3 years? Yes or no? That's a question you have to ask yourself. For me, I'm at that point that I have definitely certain brands I like. I like the boxes specifically because they give me a chance to break out of my comfort zone with supplies and try something new and have fun and have a community around that. But other than that, I have more than enough supplies that I have to start downsizing because I believe in having a minimalist art studio, and that is not happening at the moment. That said, I will be having some giveaways in the future to get rid of some of these boxes that I wasn't happy with, and I'm hoping they'll go to good homes with some of you that may be interested in those boxes. And at the end of the year, I will be doing a giveaway of my favorite things. It will be a sampling of all of my favorite things. So on my 1 year anniversary of this channel, we'll be doing that giveaway. But the summer we'll probably be doing the box giveaways because I want to move them out and get them into some of your hands. Remember, you're trading your time and your money for art supplies. You're trading life away for these things. So making the best choice is really important. That said, if you pay $25 and it's something that comes to your door and it relieves some stress for you, that you don't have to go shopping for art supplies, you don't have to think about it, all the stuff is curated and arrives on your door, it may be worth it no matter what comes inside of it. And honestly, it's the experience of actually doing the art challenges or creating even one piece of artwork with this, or spending one night with your family doing an art activity together. Those are the things you're going to remember 10 years from now, is the experience, not whether it was artist grade, student grade, not whether it was exactly worth it to get it. In the last few years, I've realized that sometimes to save time, money, and effort, sometimes it's better to spend the money. And I know that may not make sense to some of you, but is if it's something that is going to bring you more joy in life than all the other factors, then I say go for it. If it's going to cause you stress and strain on your budget and other things, think about just, you can DIY these boxes, but you can just DIY, one paintbrush, one tube of paint, or 3 little tubes of paint, and try a medium out. You don't have to go to this length to try different art supplies. You want the overall experience to benefit your life, not subtract from it. So at the end of the video, I will tell you what box or boxes I stayed with and what this year kind of looks like moving ahead. So let's get back to the last 2 boxes. And just remember that these are the premium boxes. So these are above $35. They're not the $25 box this month, but next month they will be.
So here's Sketchbox. Some extra things to note on this one. I listed off both the January comparison and the November comparison. What I want you to note on this one is that they're providing the same experience at both levels. So both levels you received a blue, a yellow, and a white watercolor in January, as well as the Fine Tech special teal color. In both boxes you got black paper. The only difference is a lower quality paper in the basic box. Note that in order to see their past boxes, you'll have to watch videos. They do restock their boxes pretty often, at least since I've been following them, but they do not have a previous box page, so you will have to go to getsketchbox.com/school to see videos of side-by-side past boxes, and that will give you a good idea how close the experience is for the customer at both levels. I did purchase 3 past boxes during the holidays because they had a really good sale. This is my first, January was my first subscription box. So the most interesting thing I found, of course, you have to remember I chose the 3 past boxes, the November gouache, the September graphite, and then there was, I think, a 2018 colored pencil or watercolor pencil box. Out of the boxes I purchased from them and the subscription box, so far I would use all the supplies again. There may have been one graphite pencil that I wasn't real keen on, but again, that's about 98%. I didn't add up all the items. I'm just using these supplies a lot. So all of them made it up out of the boxes and have made the rotation in my daily art. So for me, this is a pretty good box. Stay tuned till the end and I will explain both why or why not I would subscribe to this box. One of the main factors is one of the higher cost boxes at both levels. So that's just something to think about with this box. I'll let you know what I think at the end. So Paletteful Packs. So Paletteful Packs is the one subscription that has 3 levels of boxes. They offer their Premier box, and that's the one I'm showing you today, and that's $35.95 a month. But note they also have a Paletteful Pack Petite, and that's $24.95 a month, and a Young Artist box, and that's for 7 and older, and that is $30.95, and no shipping on any of these boxes. Again, with this one, I'm going to compare the December Premier box with the Petite box, and you'll notice you're still getting the exact same experience at both levels, and to me that is a great box where they're offering you the same paints, similar supplies, and everyone is using the same colors and getting the same experience. That said, I want you to note on this screen too is the stated value is $50.89. To DIY, it's $36.86. But from Dick Blick, in order to ship this to my house, I would have had to pay $46.37. So I'm kind of looking at that $46.37 as the value of the box, which is still much higher than the subscription cost. But I just want you to note the $35.96 versus the DIY of $36.86. So just a little less than $1 more to DIY if you didn't have to pay shipping. So the thing to note is the Stonehenge paper, their retail price was over $18. Web price, I could not find that anywhere. The highest web price I found was $13.49. So this is where I was talking about if a box has an item that is its manufacturer price is well over what the web price is, it's going to inflate the value of the box. I'm not saying that Paletteful Packs did that on purpose. It's just, no, the more items in a box that have a really high retail value will seem to make the box more valuable. So in that case, if you're noticing a lot of that, then there may be an issue. But once in a while, because it is a retail value, that is maybe what you would pay if you could find this paper in your local art store. For me personally, I buy Cheap Joe's, Dick Blick, or my box stores, and I could get this for $10.99 on Dick Blick. So for me, almost a $8 difference in paper price, and that's just something to note. So you're not looking at that $50 value and thinking, wow, this is a really great box based on that value. If you could DIY the box for almost the same price or a little, by $1, I don't necessarily think that's a good deal. But you would have to know whether every box was that way or just a few. So I will be doing a 3-month roundup of the Paletteful Packs, and I will be doing the same cost comparison per box, and maybe that will help you if you're thinking about Paletteful. As I said, it was in my top 2 art boxes that I subscribe to because of the value there. However, as I said, this information and looking at the usefulness of the products, I found for me, the value isn't there based on the products, not necessarily an overinflated retail value or perceived value. So this was where this research paid off for me. Paletteful Packs was my top 2 subscriptions that I signed up for back at the end of October. And so this is a really high quality box. But using my 5 criteria for picking out a subscription box, I purchased 1 pass box and then I had my 3 subscription boxes. There was 27 items and I only ended up using 9 out of the 27 items that I would use. Those are the supplies I would use going forward. So 9 out of 27. That is a third of the items I received. So, and the things I'm finding at least useful are a couple of the sketchbooks that I could repurpose for other things, not use with the medium that they were sent with. So for this box, even though it was my top 2 subscription boxes I subscribed to, after 3 months, and then going back and looking over past boxes, I'm realizing that this is a box that for me personally, so far, I would just not use many of these supplies again. That said, it was all supplies that I don't particularly turn to. So acrylics, oils, and pens. The October box was alcohol ink, and I also wouldn't have used that. So again, it isn't that it's a bad box, it is just the fact that for me personally, these aren't supplies that I use on a daily basis, even a monthly or yearly basis. So for me, in the long run, this box may not be something that suits me long term. And I would either go month to month or cancel it altogether. That said, again, it's a really great box, and for someone starting out, this may be the perfect box for them. And it might be just the supplies they need to try out different mediums, and it may work better for you.
So remember, reviews of items are based solely on my criteria, based on my biases in life and experiences. I'm mainly a watercolor artist, pencil artist, and I really like Copic markers, both because they blend well and because they're refillable, and I feel like I waste less money with those. So thus boxes with heavy acrylics, oils, markers, pens are really not my thing. It is also based on my wants and needs for art supplies, and as I said, my studio is really full at the moment. So I really don't need an art box moving forward, and my choices are also based on what I consider good or bad art supplies, but know that I'm experienced across both levels of artist grade versus beginner's grade, and I already have most of my favorites picked out, but the boxes have been nice to show me some things that maybe I wouldn't have thought about before, and so I'm having a lot of fun playing with some new supplies. So that goes into my choice too, that I already have more than enough supplies. I need to get some donated or in giveaways so that somebody else can try them out and decide if they're for them. And just remember that you may or may not have a reason to love or use something I hate, and vice versa. You may have a reason to hate something I love. So there's nothing wrong with any level of art supply, and there's no one way to use a supply that is better or worse or best for everyone. I hope on this channel that when I use supplies, I can show you the most ways to make use of a subscription box rather than necessarily just making art with it for you. I hope that I can give you some ideas how to make the most out of whatever art subscription box I decide on finally, so that if you're subscribed to that box, you could come to this channel, and it's nice to see what everybody else does, but what are all the ways you can use the supplies in that box with maybe some other supplies you have on hand, or just how many ways can you mix up these supplies and use them in interesting ways. I'm hoping to provide that content for you this year. So what matters most is, no matter what box you go with, is that you're creating your art and using whatever materials are available to you. Whether, I would rather see you use coupons at some of the box stores, get cheaper art supplies, and be happily making art to relieve yourself of stress of your budget or some other factor. So it just really matters that you're creating art on a regular basis. So whatever path that means for you, whether it's DIY your own box, whether it's just becoming more aware of what's available and what coupons are available to get the art supplies you want, or just saving your money for the larger items on your wish list. I fell in the trap of listening to this YouTuber or that one and seeing their reviews telling me which is their favorite thing or the best. I purchased it and ended up not liking it, as well as something else I was already using. If you can't tell the difference between artist grade and student grade, then it probably doesn't matter. And many companies are making better student grade supplies, but you don't know where they were at. If it was the first supply they used and they're nostalgic and it's the only supply they use, or if they've tried them all and they're recommending it for that, or if because they like it, they just like it. So just remember that with some of the reviews and try not to get sucked into, just trust on trying some things yourself. I was personally blown away by my discoveries about these boxes. After my preliminary search in October and subscribing, I thought it would be pretty cut and dry. But then when I made some mistakes about subscribing to more boxes, then really started breaking down these boxes, I then decided, like I said, which boxes am I using the supplies? That's the most important question. And, granted, some items are limited edition and you can't get that exact thing, but ask yourself if you really need that one thing. I was really surprised that all these boxes were actually a really good deal. And truth be told, the Sketchbox was the only box I actually loved this month. But remember, my interest is watercolors, and this was a watercolor box. But it gave me an opportunity to try some paints I hadn't tried before. It provided paper I hadn't tried before, and it's really interesting to me personally. That said, there's items in every other box that I would use again, and even though I've disliked the last two Artsnacks boxes, because personally for me, they're not mediums I would use ever again, I realized that over the past boxes, there definitely are supplies I will use again, and more of them than some of the other boxes, which I'm no longer subscribed to. And then personally for me, any box over $35 starts to be a deal breaker. $25 to $30, I can justify getting random supplies. $30 to $45, I start saying, wait a minute. If I got two boxes I hated at $45, that's $90 worth of supplies for just two boxes that I will not use again. Even at $25, it's $50 worth of supplies I will never use again. And so that's where it starts, that's sobering to me. And I think, what? I want 4 more tubes of those colors I think I can't afford to buy, rather than another month of a box of supplies I don't use. So my caveat to that is spending more on that box you will use is a better deal. And if you want to stay at that $25 price point, finding which box has the most supplies over a year that you would use is a better deal. I'm not a fan of the special boxes or grab bags because that is company overstock in most instances, not all of them, but from unboxings I've seen, that's what it appears to be. And again, those are usually at the $70 to $100 price point, unless it's a specialty box that has a specific theme. I recommend probably staying away from those. The way I'd like you to think about that is if you put $70 towards another 2 or 3 boxes of their subscription, is that a better deal than getting a box of random supplies that you don't know what's in it? To me, I'd rather invest either in more supplies or just save that money and put $70 to $100 towards something I personally want for my art room. So you may have other criteria that makes one of these boxes better and stand out to you. And if you want to leave a comment below and tell me which one you're thinking about after watching this video, that would be interesting to me. Tell me what your medium is that you work in and maybe a little bit why that box is for you, if you want to share. But if not, that's okay too. So I'll be reviewing next month at least 4 of these boxes, all at the $25 to $30 price point. As I said, for me, over $35 becomes a deal breaker. You might think I'm leaning more towards Sketchbox at the moment, and maybe in some ways I am. However, their price point is the highest at both levels except for Artsnacks plus higher level. So I am loving the Sketchbox, but their price point is just a little bit higher. If they remove shipping, they may, for me personally, be the clear winner. That said, I have a 3-month subscription to Scrawlrbox. Moving forward, that was the one I subscribed to for a year and then quickly backed off and said, you know what, let's give it another 3 months. After the first 3 months, I've liked everything but this box. And it wasn't a bad box, it's just metallics are not my thing. Metallica, yes. Metallics, no. So I'm glad to get some more black paper, and the gold and silver metallics I can use on cards and things, but overall, that box was not a favorite. But I'm willing to try another 3 boxes because some of their past boxes has a high return on items I will use again. My only consideration at this point is they do have a few less professional supplies, and that is my preference. So for me, it's not all about just making art, and I do want to try some professional supplies. So they are making changes, so we'll see what they do, and that's why I'm giving them another 3 months. Nothing I subscribed to for a year. So, and Artsnacks I'm subscribed to for another month or 2, and when I unsubscribed and then realized that I was actually using more of the supplies. That's not true for the last 2 months, but all the past boxes I've bought, I've used a lot of the supplies. Over 3/4 of the supplies I'm using from this box. So although it provides a very frustrating art experience, it is a very good box for supplies that I will use in my artwork and other places. So I subscribed again to receive another month of this box, and after next month's review I will decide whether I want to continue to move forward with them. Otherwise they will become a box that, I hope I mentioned this earlier, but if you have a favorite medium like watercolor or oils, you can think about just buying some of their previous boxes, just watching their websites, and when a favorite box comes up, grabbing it off their websites. Now on some of them, especially Artsnacks, you are going to pay more for that plus shipping. Their store items do not ship out for free, so you're going to pay $26 rather than $24 or less for that box. And you are also going to pay shipping. So what was a $24 box in the subscription is now a $30 box in store. That said, if it has more supplies I'm going to use, that may end up being a better deal for me than subscribing every month. But I will think about that. Because again, in that example, 3 boxes at $30 is, $90. 4 boxes at $24 is a little less than $100. It's like getting 1 box free if you subscribe compared to buying one at the store. But you decide if that 1 box is, supplies you're going to use. Upcrate, I will not be subscribing. I will be watching them over the next year and see how they do. So far, out of the 4 boxes, I would not reuse anything but pencils and erasers. So, and it may be a pen or 2. So for me, this box does not work for my art style and is not something I'm moving forward with. That said, they're new and they're just getting their feet wet. So we'll see what they do over the next year. Paletteful Packs, I have unsubscribed to. Not because it's not a good box, because if you have seen my other top 2 subscription boxes, it was one of the first ones I subscribed to because it was a well-rounded box and it offered supplies that I thought I would use, but now after 3-month subscription, so remember when I said you may not want to jump into a year subscription, this is my be careful story, is I really wanted to like this box. I thought it had everything I needed. It offered a lot of different variety, but at the end of the day, the 3 boxes I've received and the rest of the boxes this year could totally be amazing and things I would use, but I need to step away from it only because the 3 boxes, which were oil, acrylics, and pens, I would not use most of these supplies again. The paper is about the only supply in all of them that I would use again, and a random pen from this pack. Other than that, the paintbrushes, and the surfaces are already used for my videos. So that doesn't leave much that I'm moving forward and using again. The only other possible use would be the golden acrylics just to play with, because painting with them was not fun at all. It was not fun. So while I still feel Paletteful Pack is worth the money and a good product, you have to ask yourself whether or not you would use those supplies. I can't answer that for you, and I don't want you to go based on my opinion on this box. As I said, it's a good box. It's just, for me personally, as a watercolorist and a pencil artist, they haven't had enough boxes in my mediums that it pays for me to subscribe any longer. I've enjoyed it. The experience was there, and I don't feel like I've wasted my money. I just feel that there's other boxes that provide me a better experience, and I had fun trying oils. I had fun trying those acrylics. They were awesome to put on paper. It's just I can't paint with either of those. And this one, that I really wasn't happy with the pens or the pencil box, and that's all there really was this month. So 1 or 2 pens and some paper is all I really got out of it for $35. And to me, that's about $12 worth of items that I personally would use. So that's why I'm stepping away from Paletteful Packs. It's not because I won't subscribe in the future. It's just I need more evidence that I'll use the items in the box. And right now, after 4 boxes I've purchased from them, 1 previous box and the 3 subscription boxes, had I subscribed for a year, I would be getting more supplies that I may not like. And so I'm really happy that I didn't jump in any longer than 3 months, but I sort of wish I would have just tried 1 box out. So that said, it will be between one of these 3 boxes. And honestly, I would say it's probably between Scrawlrbox and Sketchbox if I don't end up going with both of them, with a few Artsnacks thrown in for a good mix that I will be showcasing on this channel. And the one thing I can say is I really want to showcase things on this channel that I believe in. And what my financial facts on these boxes are is that if you really want these, there isn't really a bad one in the batch. It really comes down to what is your personal preferences and which one excites you more to create, which one will get you the most creative. Right now, the one, again, I handpicked a lot of the boxes. It would be Sketchbox and Scrawlrbox, and Artsnacks is more frustrating for me. However, some of their past boxes were the best boxes. I mean, it's a subscription box, but I purchased from their store and they were amazing. Their Daniel Smith past box from July of 2019, amazing. Every item I used in that box. Their M. Graham watercolor box used all those items as well. So as you can see, it's the acrylic boxes that I'm the most critical of, and but I am critical of one of their watercolor boxes because the colors were so weird that I received that it made that experience not very pleasant. So again, for them, it's just the randomness of colors and that everybody doesn't get the same experience, and the frustration of supplies that may not always work together. But if you take that out of the equation and just look at it as a trial, then it doesn't matter, and I can try them with my other supplies, and it's a great box for me personally. So I hope all this information was helpful for you, because I know it's a lot of information. It's a long video. If I didn't cover something or you're wondering something, please leave a comment below. Remember to check for coupons and discount codes before you subscribe. Remember to check their refund policies or cancellation policies before you subscribe. Some boxes, if you subscribe for a year, you're going to be subscribed for a year. You're charged immediately for that. Some boxes will prorate based on the boxes you have received already, but know that when you cancel one of those, if you have not talked to their customer service, and I would recommend in that case to talk to somebody, not just do it through their website, it doesn't guarantee that you'll receive boxes or your money back automatically. You have to talk to some customer service. So just make sure you understand their cancellation policies. Most boxes, before they ship, you can cancel, but most charge you immediately if it's your first time subscribing or signing up. So, and if it's close to the date they're sending, you cannot get a refund. And most, I do not think, have refunds, but I'm not 100% sure on that. I'll double check some of that for next month. I did look at a few, but just know month to month you definitely can cancel. Those longer ones, sometimes you can cancel after and you just won't get a renewal at the 3-month mark or the 6-month mark. So just something to keep in mind. And again, I have plenty of videos planned for this year and a lot of fun things, a lot of giveaways. I have some challenges. So I hope you'll keep checking back and that my information is fun, helpful, relaxing, and you learn a little something here, and most importantly, that you get creative. So I'm Ari, this is Shamelessly Creative. I thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again. Now go out there and get creative. Bye.